Welcome to episode 1 of the LibreOffice podcast, a new podcast from the LibreOffice project and community as well. I'm Mike Saunders and I'm joined by Italo Vignoli. Hi, Italo.
Hi.
We work for the Document Foundation, which is the small non-profit foundation behind LibreOffice. We are not the developers of LibreOffice, but we coordinate the LibreOffice project and community that's made up of hundreds of people around the world, volunteers, ecosystem, company developers as well. But we at TDF, we're quite small, I think 14 people, and survive mostly from donations as well. So donations are always very welcome to keep us going. But yeah, we wanted to start this podcast to keep users informed about what's happening, but also talk a bit about what we do in the project. How is LibreOffice made? What are different people working on? Because we estimate around 200 million users of the software, but where does it come from? Why is it free? Who's working on it? What are the challenges as well? So we are recording this episode in the middle of November, which is about halfway through the development cycle. So we have new major releases of LibreOffice every 6 months. And the next release, which will be called version 25.2, will be released in 2025 in the second month. So at the start of February, when we get back from attending FOSS Dem, a big open source event in Brussels. We'll put a link to the release notes for LibreOffice 25.2 in the video description, so people can check it out. There are already quite some major improvements and new features, some big improvements to change tracking, for instance. So really, really helps with collaboration. But yeah, a couple of months more of development on that from our volunteers, community members, ecosystem, and then we'll have a big, shiny new major release to go out. But today, in this first episode of the podcast, let's talk a bit about marketing. How do we market LibreOffice? I've been at TDF since 2016, involved in marketing and community outreach and other things. And Italo, I think you've been involved for much longer as well in the predecessor, like OpenOffice.
Yes, yeah, since 2004.
Right, yeah. So you know what it's like as well to market something that is free. And I think it's quite a challenge because a lot of people are skeptical when something is free. They say, well, there must be a catch somewhere. Yeah. So why is this thing free? Why is somebody giving it away? Where is the catch?
Yeah.
Yeah, where do I have to pay something extra, or is it taking my data? So when you started off marketing OpenOffice back like 20 years ago, were people quite skeptical that suddenly there was a free Office suite compared to hundreds of dollars or euros for Microsoft Office?
Yeah, the market was quite different at the time. It was just around the corner of the new century, and internet was not as developed as it is today. So the concept of having web-based software was not there. All people were used to have a desktop software, and it was already a time where users were looking for alternatives to Microsoft Office, which was by far the leading Office suite. And there were a number of clones really mimicking Microsoft Office, which have not left any trace in the market. They were just reducing the price, cut some features. They were really looking like the leading Microsoft Office software. And then in around 2002, the announcement of OpenOffice came out. Actually, the first announcement was earlier, but it was just the announcement of the donation of the code to the community. So there was no real product. The product started in late 2001 or early 2002. With version 1.0 was quite um, behind in terms of features, and especially was full of bugs because porting it was not trivial. It was already in Windows, was quite a large software. So let's say that the real story started with the version 1.1 late 2003, and I was curious. I was one of the people looking for alternatives to Microsoft Office. So I saw the announcement, I downloaded OpenOffice, and I realized that it was different from the other clones because it was a software with a, let's say, a software with a soul, with something behind in terms of thinking. It was different, providing more or less the same features of Microsoft Office, but in a different way. So it was developed by someone that put some ideas behind the software. So I started using it, and I remember after a while, I sent a message to the community manager saying, you have a very nice software with large potential, but you don't have marketing. You should start doing marketing because people is not aware of your software. So I started doing marketing in Italy because they were a little bit skeptical about doing it at global level. And in 6 months, the number of downloads in Italy went up from 2 million on a projected basis, on a yearly projected basis, to 8 million on a yearly projected basis. So they quadrupled. And so they asked me, what have you done? And I said, I've just told users that the software is available. At the time, it was easy to do marketing because the users were really unaware of the software. So just informing them about the possibility of downloading a free software and trying it was enough for having tech-savvy users, the technology enthusiasts, so the people that were looking at technology also not just to find alternatives, but also to be updated and in terms of technologies. And I think we got that slice of the market in quite in a short time. Then, of course, the next challenge is to get the users that are not technically curious or savvy, but are more conservative, which is the majority of the users. And then we started to talk about why it's free, why you can trust a free software. There's no catch behind it. It's just a different approach to development. We consider the development of the software as a common goods, and you don't have to pay a common good, but of course you can pay value-added features on top of the common good. So companies migrating to LibreOffice are to get consultants, trainers, and you have to pay the trainer. The software is free, but someone doing the training has a lot of work behind it to get prepared to be able to explain the software. And the same is for people that are managing projects. So we slowly evolved the marketing during OpenOffice times. And when LibreOffice started, it was almost a natural evolution that I handled marketing, this time at global level. And we try to evolve marketing over the years, although with a changing scenario around us. Media today, most media today are online, so consumption of news is a lot shorter in time. We have a lot of news spread with social media, and that is another factor which makes it challenging to inform people, because social media usually doesn't give you the space to explain, but just gives you some short bits to describe a product. So it has changed. I think we have to change it again, or we have to evolve it again to follow the evolution of the market. LibreOffice has some distinctive features which are important to explain to users.
Yeah, and I remember the early versions of OpenOffice and before that StarOffice being available on magazine discs. So it was a different time when OpenOffice came out, and I think it was good that they went straight to a version 1.0, because there are many free software projects, some which are really, really good, which hang around on like version 0.8 or 0.9 for a long period of time. I think Inkscape did this. Everybody knew in the free software world, Inkscape is great, it's powerful, it's usable, but the team, for their own reasons, but decided to keep it at version 0.9 point something for a long time. And that made it really hard to recommend to people, the non-technical, the conservative people. Hey, here's a vector image editor, it's great. Yeah, but why is it 0.9? It's going to crash, So I think back then, I remember when OpenOffice 1.0 came out, and like you said, it was quite buggy. It was very slow. It was huge. Yeah, I think there were so many optimizations put into 1.1 and 2.0. But I remember first installing it from a disk and thinking, "Wow, a free Office suite. It's big, it's clunky, it's heavy because it wasn't optimized at all for any of the platforms." But thinking, yeah, this is free, because that at that time the context was going out and buying software, going out to the shop and buying a box of software, which is, I don't think anybody does now. Here in Germany, you can go to the like Media Markt and tech shops and still buy some things, including LibreOffice, not from us, but from publishers who sell it. So there is a tiny market for that, but nowhere near comparable. And of course, so LibreOffice is the successor project to OpenOffice, and it came out in 2010 as the OpenOffice project moved and slowly diminished. Now, obviously, OpenOffice is not really being developed, but I guess that was at the time when people were starting to move to free Office suites, like online Office suites, and then the definition of free kind of changed. Somebody came out with that quote, for online services, if something is free, then you are the product. Yeah, I can't remember who said it, but things like Facebook, yeah, and so, wow, Facebook, not so cool or trendy now, but 15 years ago, Facebook, wow, it's free. I have all this whole platform and communication and friends for free. And like, well, it's not free. You, the user, are the product.
Yeah.
Because Facebook is selling your profile to the advertisers so they can target you. So, well, you think it's free, but no, you are the actual product. And today, I think people are still quite wary. We tell them something is free, this thing is free, but again, people are like, well, or increasingly so now, people are saying, well, does it mine my data? Yeah, everybody's talking about artificial intelligence and tools. Yeah, harvesting data, mining data to improve the AI engines, which some people could argue is a good thing. But then I've seen this because, like you, I also manage and monitor our social media channels, and I see people saying, "Wow, yeah, so what are you doing with my data?" And when we tell people we don't do anything with your data, we have no interest in your data. We are a small non-profit. We are not a company. This kind of blows people's minds.
Yeah, they're so used to be profiled that it seems impossible that we are not profiling them. And in fact, we are not profiling them. We usually, when I was used to do trainings, I'm not anymore, but I remember when we were introducing the data, the user data that the user had to insert into LibreOffice, we just said, you have a full form, you can fill in whatever, but just your name and initials. That allows you to see when, because in the history of a document, it is stored when you edited that document. So when you did some changes, and in the history that will be saved, and in some cases can be a useful information. But given the trend, now we allow people to get rid of that data. So the reality is that you can have a LibreOffice document without any data that allows to connect the document with a user. In my personal opinion, this is not always a wise choice, because if you work in a company, for instance, can be important for the next editor to know who has edited the document before, or just for history to know who has created a paragraph or changed the structure of a document. But of course, this is my opinion, and people is absolutely welcome to have different opinions and say, I don't want to be recognized through a document. And so LibreOffice allows you to get rid of those data when you save the document. And so the document is like it was created by no one, which means no strings attached, no names, no IP numbers, no computer data, nothing that can be used to profile the user in any way, which is what other software is doing, because they're not only storing user data, but they keep track of the changes that the user has done to the document and use those changes to profile the user. It seems strange or difficult to understand for someone, but let's make a very simple example. You are talking about a recipe of a dish, and you change the adjective or the adverb related to the dish, and says it was a fabulous dish, and the next one says, oh, it was a very good one. So the fact that you are using fabulous or very good will allow indirectly to understand to the artificial intelligence behind the profiling that you like more certain ingredients than the other person, and therefore maybe you like more lamb than someone else, and you like more lamb cooked in a certain way. And I'm just making a very stupid example related to a dish, but imagine if you are commenting about a film, or you are commenting about any other kind of more important topic, where from the topic you can understand your mood, your political orientation, your economic status, and even more the gender, and all the information. It's very subtle, because from this kind of small changes in our behavior, the search engines or the associated software can understand a lot more than we think they can understand.
Yeah, this is the kind of story we need to tell in when marketing as well. It's very easy to say, okay, LibreOffice doesn't store X, Y, Z, but for a lot of non-technical users, say, well, I don't have a problem with that. Yeah, what's wrong? But when you actually have a story to tell and a real world example of the problems this can cause or the risks, then suddenly um, uh, people understand it a lot more. And we know we have a lot of people now recommending LibreOffice on social media and other places, tech influencers, people make videos and get tens of thousands of views where they're talking about this and data privacy, data protection, control of your data. And this is increasingly, I think, how people are sort of grassroots campaign promoting us. Because I think also a lot of people don't know the sheer difference there is from our side, like David versus Goliath. For LibreOffice marketing, there's you and me, and then of course our marketing community. So lots of people around the world in the LibreOffice project marketing in their own languages and talking to people, which is essential, yeah, because they can do all the languages we can't. So we have people in Japan and South America doing great work. But ultimately, yeah, there's me and you like coordinating the marketing project. And I think that's not even like 1% of Microsoft's Office marketing team in Italy alone. I think you once said, yeah,
Yeah,
the sheer
probably yes.
difference in size. So what we're trying to do is two people with a very helpful community around us compared to um, that vast number of people. So I think that's why you need the grassroots. You need people helping to uh, tell these stories and spread these messages as well. But you said as well we have to change. How do you think things are going to change in with marketing in the coming years? I mean, there's mobile, there's collaboration, data protection is a big thing. But what do you think will change?
Uh, I think that one of the key points will be to grow the the marketing reach inside the community in many and when I say community, I'm saying not only volunteers but also ecosystem companies, advisory board members. We should act like a more cohesive group of companies and people than we have done in the past. It's not easy because when you move to another continent, marketing it's probably done in a different way or using different keys to reach the user. But either we are able to do this, or I think we will always be far behind the large corporations because they have that power based on money. So they, if we think about Microsoft, Google, they have the power of money to have marketing people, skilled marketing people in each market, while we have volunteers in many markets, and those volunteers may not be marketing skilled. So we have also to uh, try to teach them or to improve their marketing understanding, which in some cases it's easier, in other cases is less easy. But I think that the battle will be on transforming our community in like the Roman legion of the past, where they were really they seemed a torture because they were making they were going forward like a single man, and there were 500 men under the protection. So we should and of course not to go to war, but to go to do marketing. But this gives the idea of something which is based on many different people, but acts like a single element. And I think the our main challenge will be this one in the next few years.
Yeah, because we at the Document Foundation, there's a bit of a limit in what we can do. We are set up in Germany as a non-profit organization, so we don't provide technical support. We can't provide technical support to millions of people. That's just not possible, and it's not part of our remit, part of our goal. So we do have the ecosystem companies doing a lot of good, doing marketing to big enterprises, saying you can get LibreOffice from us and get technical support from us, long-term support as well. And so I think, yeah, like you said, marketing is a cohesive whole. So even though we TDF offer different things to the ecosystem offers versions much more suited to the enterprise. I think we can work on consistent messaging for that. But these are the challenges. People ask us at TDF, well, I want to install LibreOffice on 10,000 computers in my business. We say that's great, but you probably want you don't want 14 people at TDF supporting you. You want a company, and we have really good companies in the ecosystem who can provide this. So I think that's a challenge as well, raising awareness of that. But also another part of the marketing is making sure that this the wider community is healthy, because we have 200 million users. But if nobody's actually contributing, getting involved, then you just have a lot of users and nothing's happening. Like we can see this now in the OpenOffice project. Nothing's really happening. They still have a lot of users because of the name, but they've had no major update for 10 years. No new committers for years. It's pretty much entirely dead now. So a lot of users, but nothing happening. So I think that's also a challenge, is to tell people you can get involved. A lot of people are really intimidated by this, but you yourself said you were a user of OpenOffice, but you had a lot of experience in marketing and things, and said, well, I'm going to step up and do something.
And I don't have a technical background. People today, they think I have a technical background because I've been in technology for many years as a consultant. But the reality is that I have a degree in humanities. I'm 70 today, which means that I'm not young anymore. And although I'm 70, and I saw my the first computer when I was 27, because before there were no computers. So it's not because I refused to look at computers, but was because there were no computers on desktops. So I saw my first computer at 27, and although at 27 I was already a mature worker, I slowly adapted my way of working to the computers. Today, I'm a Linux user, which people think Linux is difficult. No, Linux today is as easy as any other operating system, but it's probably a lot more robust than Windows. It's quite similar in robustness at macOS, because macOS is really based on a Linux-like software or operating system. So people sometimes is shy about contributing because they think they have not the right skills. But I think you can find the right skills almost everywhere, almost in every person. Of course, do not approach the community as if the community is made by incompetence, because that is not the reality. In the community, there are very competent people in many areas. I have 40 years of marketing background, but for instance, Gene Weber, who has created the documentation project, she was a technical editor in a major Australian company. So she has the background to be an editor of books, because she did it for most of her life. We have we have localizers that are professional translators in their language, so they know how to localize, how to translate. They do it for business and they help LibreOffice. So the community has very skilled people. So if you approach the community like you can add to the skills that there are already, then it's a positive approach. If you come and say, oh, look, you should do this and that, we probably have already done this and that. And we have also seen that something is working and something not. So we are not naive. The problem is that we are not many and we don't have money behind. Our marketing budget, apart from a few euros for gadgets, is probably zero or close to zero. So just think about having a zero marketing budget project against a project with $18 billion on marketing on a yearly basis, which is Microsoft Office. That's a little bit of a difference.
Yeah. And sometimes people say to us and join us in the marketing project and say, well, let's spend some money on advertising, but we have quite limited resources anyway as a non-profit, and we also a bit restricted. We can't just, people donate money to us, and they don't donate money to us to just then spend it all on Twitter adverts or something, but also the you talked before about social media, how you've got such limited space and people have such short attention spans as well. I think I read a while back that if somebody is scrolling down a social media feed, you have 0.4 seconds to capture somebody's attention. Otherwise, they will keep scrolling, and the whole perpetual scrolling, it just scrolls more and more and more. It's not like, oh, get to the next page. So if you don't capture somebody, so you can spend a lot of money on advertising, and people say to us, you should spend money on advertising, but we don't have that much money. And again, it's not really the idea of using money from people who donate to us. It's better if we can build a marketing community. And also, I think it's worth noting that it's not just about marketing different languages as well in different places around the world, but there are such big cultural differences. What kind of marketing may work for us you're in Italy, I'm in southern Germany. We're not far away, that's Central Europe, but still differences in the countries and cultures. But the marketing that may work in Japan may be very, very different. It's not like we just take an English Twitter or Mastodon message and say, okay, let's turn that into Japanese, and then voila, we have Japanese marketing, Japanese social media. The big cultural differences. They're talking about different things there. What's important in software? Why are people interested in potentially switching as well? So I think that's another challenge. There are big cultural differences in marketing and storytelling. All across the world. So it's an interesting topic, and then anybody who's watching this is welcome to join us in the marketing community as well. So as Italo said, we have experience as well. So having people adding to that is really, really useful. And people from areas where we're not active. So if somebody's watching this and knows LibreOffice, uses LibreOffice, but never hears anything about it in their own language or country, get in touch with us, let us know, because these are the markets we also want to reach. We proudly say that LibreOffice is available in 120 languages or something?
120, and with other 40 in development, which means that 5.5 billion people can use LibreOffice in their native language.
Yeah, exactly. So the vast majority of the world, and we want to put that up even more, but can use LibreOffice in their own language. So, but we also want to do marketing in those languages as well, and reach people. So yeah, anybody is welcome to join us. Check the video description for notes. Get in touch with us and help us in this journey. It's exciting, it's interesting, and it's a challenge, but it's also really satisfying when things go well. So, yeah, thanks, Italo.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was episode 1 of the LibreOffice podcast, and we hope to do some more soon with other people in the project and community. But let us know your feedback. What did you think of the episode? If you have any questions, we'll post this video hopefully in a few different places, social media, on PeerTube, on YouTube as well. So let us know what you think, and yeah, see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.